Hello, hello, how are you? I hope you're keeping well and I hope you are keeping safe. My name is Marion and I'm the lead events consultant at Majestic Events Kenya. And welcome to our channel where we discuss all things that are related to events. Now, we are back with the What's Next series where we are asking experts outside the events industry to share ideas and strategies on what people in the events industries like you and myself should be doing during this season right now, during the pandemic right now. Now, I'm sure we're all excited that yes, the market and the country is open, lockdown is over, but guess what? We might find ourselves back here again if we do not make sure that our head and our mental space is okay. So today I'm really excited. We'll be finding out a little more about the relationship between food and mental health. And how did this come about? A few weeks ago, Nyabura Chege, who is a counseling psychologist, came here and told us that what we eat can make us mentally well or mentally ill. So I was very intrigued by this, and my team and I said, no. We must get a nutrition coach to come and tell us more. So today I am excited. I am happy to have Wanjiru Macharia, who is the founder of Myplantedkitchen. And she's going to be helping us to figure this all out. So, Karibu Shiru, how are you?
I'm well, Marion. Thank you for having me.
No, I'm excited. These are those interviews you do for yourself as well. You're saying, I really want to know more about it. And we've been getting messages and people saying we can't wait. We're going to tune in. So, asante sana. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, before we get into the nitty-gritties, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay. So I'm Wanjiru Macharia, online Shiru. A lot of people know me as Shiru.
Yes. So we can call you Shiru as we continue, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I am a nutrition coach, certified nutrition coach from the Academy of Culinary Nutrition that's based in Toronto. I'm also a program coach in the same school. I've studied culinary nutrition and sports and exercise nutrition. Those are my areas. So I'm not more in the clinical nutrition side. I'm more in the lifestyle nutrition practice.
Good.
So I run Myplantedkitchen, which is an online platform where we talk all things healthy eating, healthy lifestyle, fitness. And if you go on there, you'll see me, just be me in my element.
Yes, we've seen you, making these amazing recipes in it. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
It can be done.
It can be done. Because nutrition on paper is not as good as nutrition in the kitchen. Because that's why it really happens, right?
Yeah.
You may know all these things about I need to eat healthy.
Yes.
But how exactly do you eat healthy?
True.
Yeah.
And being in the kitchen makes it practical.
Exactly. That's why I studied culinary nutrition.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to this. So, food and mental health. What exactly is the relationship? What's the relation?
You said it. I think you said it. You are what you eat. Previously, before we joined.
Before we started.
Before we started. So, if you eat a chocolate bar, well, you will not look like a chocolate bar, but what is in that chocolate bar will totally affect how your body functions, right? So you are deriving nutrients from that food. And if that food is dead, you're basically getting nothing. In fact, you are depriving from yourself because you're taking from yourself to get rid of toxins that are coming from food that affects your health, correct?
Okay, correct.
And when a food is full of nutrition, it's nourishing, it builds you and it builds your mind. And where does that happen? In the gut. So there's a gut-brain connection that a lot of people are not aware of, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so I may nerd out a little bit here, but just flow with me.
Okay.
There is a neurotransmitter called serotonin. And serotonin mediates our mood. It affects our food hunger and fullness cues. It affects our immunity and inflammation. So serotonin is really important, right? Serotonin is produced in the lining of the gut. And the things that help this neuron transmitter, this neuron activity happening in our gut lining are our good bacteria.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? We have good bacteria in the lining of our gut. That's why you hear a lot of people saying, take your probiotics, right? Probiotics, good bacteria.
Okay.
Probiotics,
Good
good
bacteria.
bacteria.
Okay, lesson 1.
Yes.
Okay.
And those probiotics go into your gut and they help replenish or rejuvenate your good bacteria in your microbiome, your gut microbiome. Okay. So we have a lot of bacteria in us. Actually, they say we are more bacteria than human.
Okay. But there's good and bad.
And there's bad. And that good bacteria in our gut actually helps us fight inflammation. And a lot of diseases come from inflammation. And on top of that, it helps us to fight off the bad bacteria that comes into the gut and other toxins, and help with the neuron activity, the release of serotonin. Serotonin helps elevate our mood and it helps us fight anxiety. So you can imagine you've been eating foods that are killing off the good bacteria. And what are these foods? Refined sugar, refined grain, processed foods, junk foods, foods that are deep fried in the wrong kind of oil. These colors. Have you seen these colors? When you read a label, and I always encourage people, please read labels. When you buy something, read the back. What is in that food? Because some of it is staying on the shelves for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. Is that food? What is making it last that long?
Okay, you're hitting home. You're hitting home. Okay, I think we just, went into it.
Yeah.
Let's start with what's the first type of food that you said affects the body negatively?
Refined sugar.
Refined sugar. One. Let's discuss that.
Refined sugar is basically white processed sugar, right? And in and of itself, it's not a toxin per se. It's just a dead food. It doesn't have anything. You can go without it.
So if it doesn't have anything, it's not gonna hurt me.
It's not well.
Is it?
It will.
I am defending
long term.
Refined sugar.
But at that point in time, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't add anything. It does remove because it elevates your blood sugar very quickly. Your body doesn't need to do much to break down a sweet or candy. It's like direct injection to the blood.
And is that what you're saying affects the serotonin?
Now that affects our blood sugar,
Only.
Well, it will affect because it doesn't come as refined sugar alone.
Okay.
It comes with other components. So it's in a type of food, right? Because you wouldn't just take white processed sugar.
No.
You will take it either in a pastry, which is refined sugar plus refined flour. And refined flour in this case is your wheat broken down completely to white flour, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Or your rice. It's been broken down completely. It's white or white rice flour because they use that for other things. So it comes that way. And on top of that, to make it last long in the shelves, they'll add some chemicals. They'll add some preservatives. They'll add a color. You'll see yellow 1, red 2, green whatever. They are not natural, right? So that combined with that little package is what now affects our gut health.
Okay.
Because gluten, you've heard of gluten?
Yes.
In the weight, it actually goes in there and it really irritates our gut for some of us who are more sensitive than others. And that also affects our good bacteria.
All right. So the first one was refined sugars.
Yeah.
What's the second one?
Refined flours.
Refined flours. Next.
Refined oils. Your processed oils.
Processed oils, meaning what should you be taking?
You should be taking oil that has been least refined. Okay. So like virgin olive oil, virgin coconut oil, or ghee, or butter, or avocado oil, or,
Okay, that type.
Yeah, that type.
So there are others in the stores that we go to right now that are not.
And they're the most common. They're the cheapest. They are very easily accessible. It's what most people use to deep fry, right? Because it's there. You wouldn't find somebody deep frying in coconut oil because it's very expensive.
Or in virgin olive oil.
In fact, you shouldn't do that because you mess it up. You make it rancid. Olive oil is good for medium heat to low heat.
Okay, so no deep frying and everything.
But you can deep fry in coconut oil. But coconut oil is expensive. So you wouldn't find restaurants doing that, right? Like they will use the palm oil and that's what they'll use too. So that is the third category, refined oils.
Refined oils, okay.
Another one is alcohol. Yeah.
Okay.
Alcohol. I know. Alcohol. There's a study that was done by the International Journal of Food Sciences and Nutrition, and it was able to correlate the use of alcohol to the rising incidence of anxiety and depression. And there's a link.
Oh, wow.
It does affect our neurotransmitters. And you find, that's why you find somebody who's an alcoholic just does it more and more and more, because they're plunging deeper and deeper and deeper to the depression or the anxiety, and they need it more, so it becomes their pill. Yeah. It's actually quite fascinating, these connections.
I'm scared to ask what next. In terms of any other category, or are those the main four?
Those are the main
Those
four.
are the main four.
Yeah.
Now, I've listened to what you've said. Refined sugars, refined flour. And a lot of this combination of the first two, you get them in pastries, you get them in cakes, which I might add, whenever I am stressed,
that is
the
what
thing
you go
to
for.
have. It's also very easy to find pastries, a cinnamon roll, go to the likes of Mug and Bean, or go to whatever, a petrol station, and you can just spend 200, 150 and you can get something. Forget that. I can go to Quick Mart and get these amazing soft mandazis, and they go for 80 bob for 6, which if you do the calculation, one is like less than 20 bob. You've talked about the oils, which you did say, you have admitted that indeed coconut oil is expensive.
Yeah, it is.
And now you're telling me alcohol. My industry, events industry, has been hit by this pandemic. Our livelihoods have been affected. So how is somebody supposed to eat the right foods, the right categories, or, if I can say it in another way, get away from the refined sugars and the flours and the oil and the alcohol during such a period like this? And yet, as you said, some of these things are expensive, like now the refined oil. What should we be doing? Like, what advice? Because I'm like, I'll be honest, like, I go to whichever supermarket and I'm like, virgin oil or coconut oil versus
this one.
I will take the one that is the cheapest. I'm not even looking at brands anymore. Like, what is going to give me quantity and more mileage?
Value,
Yes.
I get it, and it's a reality. A lot of people's income, livelihoods have been affected. So that impacts how they're going to eat.
Yes.
But in a nutshell, I'll say this, to avoid that, because that's a great way of looking at it, to avoid that, I'd say eat real food. Food that is alive. And let me explain what this real food is. Real food is food that looks as similar to when it was harvested or picked up or, plucked from a tree as it does on our plate.
Okay.
The processing of that food from when it was harvested to my plate is very little.
Okay.
Very little. It's food your grandmother can recognize. That's another way of
I like that. My grandmother can recognize this food.
Yes, can recognize Doma, but they may not be able to immediately recognize Doma crisps. They may be like, what are these?
What is?
Exactly. But so you see that processing step, right? And it's food that will build your health. It is food that has all those components that build health, including your mental health. So when you enter a supermarket, and you said it, when you enter a supermarket, it's like pastry area, I'm going to get value, and so on and so forth. But you can actually decide to shop the periphery, and that's where the fresh foods are. Avoid the middle aisles. Because the middle aisles is that food I'm talking about where it stays for 6 months. Like, have you ever asked yourself, how can food stay on the shelf for 6 months? What have they done to it? Today, we're just having a discussion on milk. And some of this fresh milk is staying in the fridge for 2 weeks. I don't know if you remember when you were growing up, milk wouldn't stay more than 3 days.
Yes, that's true. And if it did, then you pour it out.
Exactly. Same as bread. But nowadays, those things can stick around for 2 weeks. And you're just like,
how come?
Exactly. And we need to be asking those questions more and more often, because that's where the key and the answer lies in what food is building our health and what food is feeding disease. By the way, mental health issues are also categorized under disease, because you're out of your comfort, you're diseased. So shop the periphery where there's the fresh foods. Oh yeah, another good definition of real food is food that doesn't come in a label. You don't need to read any label.
Wow, I like that. So
yeah.
Food that my grandmother could recognize.
Exactly.
Food that looks close to the state as it was when it was harvested.
Yes. Doesn't come in any labels.
And doesn't come in any labels.
Yeah.
Labels here means what? Packaging. You're kidding me.
Yeah, like you don't have to read at the back, it was made, or these are the ingredients in it, or whatever. It just comes as an apple.
But seriously, then what will we eat?
You will eat an apple as opposed to a mandazi. You get?
Okay.
Or a banana, which is the same 10 shillings.
Yes.
As that mandazi that's about 10 shillings.
The same thing.
Yeah. So you just start making smarter choices because at the end of the day, lucky for us, we're in Africa. We produce a lot of fruits and vegetables, and it's not as expensive as other parts of the world where an avocado is 200 shillings. Here it's 10 times less that price. You can get it for 20 bob or 30 bob. And an avocado sprinkled with a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. You can even add in some, I don't know, boiled egg or something.
Yes.
That's a wholesome snack, even meal. Like you'll get full on that. And avocado, for instance, because we'll go into foods that build mental health, it's got the good fats. And your brain, part of your brain fuel is good fats. You know, your brain is switched on all the time. Like your brain...
It's always working.
It's always working. It's always regulating your heartbeat, your circulation, your neurotransmission, all those things that you can control. So what kind of fuel are you giving it? Are you giving it, it's like having a Ferrari and you're giving it cheap fuel. At some point, it's not going to work very well.
Okay. I am seeing the point. I am seeing that, yes, this is right. This is what we should be doing. But now, for example, if I avoided the refined flour and the pastries, I understand that. Let's look at oil, where we fry our foods. What solution would you give me to handle that, for instance? Yeah.
We have a notion that when we are cooking, food needs to follow certain steps. Right? That you have to fry an onion or garlic, add tomato, add dania.
We were taught by our mothers.
I know, right?
Yes.
And I think those days they even used to make their own ghee from scratch. Like that's how moms were. And our grandmothers. They used to use lard. Have you heard of lard?
I've heard. I haven't
animal
partaken.
Fat.
No, I've heard.
Yes.
I've seen.
Yes.
I just haven't partaken.
And it's good. It's good fat. It's categorized as part of the good, because not all fat is made equal. So that's good saturated fat in small quantities.
In small quantities.
Yeah. So we have a notion that it has to follow that. But not necessarily so. We can always redefine how we are cooking, because I've seen people starting the process with some water. Yeah. And they use water in the frying.
Oh.
Yeah. Just
before now they add the oil.
Tomatoes. They don't even need to add the oil. They just use tomatoes, whatever. And maybe at the end, they'll drizzle a little bit of olive oil just to give it a last taste or spin and end that. I've seen others also just baking or roasting their food.
As opposed to doing the whole frying and all.
Yeah, just take your chicken, even your potatoes, instead of deep frying them. That's what we do at home. We slice them up like fries, but we just pour a little bit of ghee, throw it in the oven, let that cook, and it comes out and we have our fries. That's our fries.
Oh, nice.
We don't deep fry.
Nice.
So you can find clever ways to go around this. and not have to spend so much money because you have to fry every single day your meal, you know, and you end up buying the expensive oils. You can do different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's bring it down now. We've kind of looked at overall nutrition, things that we should be avoiding, which you've explained, and what we should be looking at, the whole foods. So now let's bring it down to mental health. How does that connection, or rather, what is that connection? Can we make it more practical?
Yeah.
Like, which foods should we be taking to improve our mental health?
Yeah. So our mental health obviously is affected by some of these neurotransmitters I was talking about, like serotonin. We've got endorphins, we've got dopamine. Yeah. So, and they're all produced round about the gut, right?
Yes.
And even our thyroid health is important. So there's a connection that we cannot ignore. It's not in isolation. Brain health is not in isolation to gut health. And that's why we've gone into explaining some of these foods and explaining some of these effects.
Sure, just say that again.
Yeah.
Brain health cannot be isolated
from your gut health. If your gut is not healthy, your brain
is not healthy.
Likely is not healthy. And sometimes you can't even place, why am I sad? Or why am I anxious all of a sudden, all the time? Because some of these things are, how do I say, almost outside your control. Because you can say, don't think those thoughts. But you find yourself going there. You find yourself just going deeper.
I like that. You find yourself.
Yeah. It's because your body is not functioning to its max. And I've seen this happen time and time and time again with clients. They start to clean their diet. They start to get rid of all those things you're talking about, the usual culprits.
Yes.
Refined sugar, refined flour,
yes,
alcohol, refined oil. And they start to notice their mood is improving dramatically. Just from food alone. We haven't even gone into exercise, because exercise is a whole other thing.
Yes.
Because we get endorphins from exercise and it helps us sleep better. And when we sleep better, we are waking up in a better mood.
Fresh. Ready for the day.
Exactly. So with food, it's you know, they say food is 80%. So the impact is really felt. It's a dramatic impact and a dramatic improvement just by doing these things. And when they go back, they notice, I'm feeling sluggish, lack of motivation, I'm just feeling fatigued, I'm just tired, and you're tired mentally as well. You can't focus on your work. If you can't focus on your work, you're not productive, and you're feeling frustrated all around. You're just a frustrated individual all around. And maybe part of the solution, big part of the solution,
is the food.
Was just that there, the food. Let's just start there. Let's just fix that and take care of you, because actually it's a form of self-love when you do that, because you really love your body and yourself, to tell yourself, I will not give it junk and poison that is draining and taking away from me. Let me give my body what it needs for it to do what I want it to do.
Nice. I am amazed by this topic. You know, I've never thought about the connection. So what examples are there of good foods that we can be taking right now to ensure, because to be truthful, the environment is not very positive.
Yeah.
And you've said it. You can say, don't think negative thoughts. You can say, surround yourself with the right people. But if you're eating the wrong food, regardless, what I'm learning is, regardless of what you do externally, you're being counterproductive if you don't eat the right type of food.
True.
So what are good examples of good foods?
I've mentioned one, avocado.
I remember that. Yes.
Good fat, good fuel for our brain, that monosaturated fat, and it's got the fiber as well. It's high in magnesium, and magnesium is a wonderful relaxing mineral. You know, if you want to relax, they tell you do Epsom salts Epsom salts are magnesium. It's a magnesium bath. So it really helps relax and calm your muscles. And avocado has got a lot of that. Then we've got good fatty fish. I'll say salmon, but hey, this is COVID times. It's expensive.
Thank you. I was just going to say that's a bit too much.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. So a good alternative for that is not very expensive, I guess, are some of the seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. They're not very expensive. Then you've got pumpkin seeds. All these are high in omega-3.
So how do you use them? Like, how do you use the chia seeds other than on their own? I know you can take them as on their own.
Yeah.
Would you put them in the food, or how do you deal?
A favorite way for me to take my chia seeds is I'll add it to my plain yogurt. And I'll talk about yogurt in a minute.
Okay.
But I'll add it to my plain yogurt with some fruit, like a banana. And I'll have that as a snack.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a very nice snack, by the way. It's filling. And chia seeds are able to absorb almost 3 times their liquid. So it really goes in there and keeps you full for long.
For a while.
Yeah.
Which is what we want.
Exactly. Yeah. So even just a tablespoon can go a long way. Then I talked about yogurt. So we were talking about the good bacteria. They need probiotics. So they need pre and probiotics. So probiotics are your fermented foods, like plain yogurt. We've got fermented porridge. Just make sure that it doesn't have a lot of sugar. Yeah, that's a favorite. And I think some traditional fermented foods like mursik. I've seen guys taking mursik. And then we've got now a bit Western traditional foods like sauerkraut, which is basically fermented cabbage. Kimchi is also another type of a fermented cabbage. They sound very foreign.
Yes.
And it's just, they are very simple to make because you just squeeze the liquid out of the cabbage, add maybe a bit of salt to help with that, to drain the water, until you start to see liquid from the cabbage. Put it in a jar, pound it down, add that liquid that you squeezed in, make sure it covers the cabbage, and leave it to sit for 2 weeks. Until it ferments. It smells like dirty socks, but I tell you, it's so good for your gut. It's really amazing, and it's yummy. It's yummy.
Okay, at least it might smell bad, but
it's very good for your gut. And then we've got kombucha. I don't know if you've heard of kombucha. Have you heard of kombucha? Kombucha is a fermented tea. It's actually really lovely. It's fizzy, and there's a whole process to it. But it's also good for your gut. So if you can get your hands on a type of fermented food that you love, stick with it. Keep taking it. It's going to feed your probiotics. It's going to be a probiotic.
And I think when you say fermented porridge, these are things I can reach.
Yeah, you can reach. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the prebiotic is the fiber. Fiber from legumes, fiber from your matoke, fiber from your...
now you're speaking. These are things you can buy.
Exactly.
I'm beginning to see what you're saying, on the edges of the aisles.
Exactly, the edges of the aisles.
Yeah.
And you've got your cabbage, your broccoli. All those are great prebiotics because they've got that fiber and the bacteria will feed on that fiber and it will help them flourish. So you can imagine somebody who doesn't take any fiber at all. They don't take vegetables. They don't take fruits. Those bacteria are like, we are waiting. We need this. You need to feed that good bacteria. It's so important.
What's coming out is, yes, I might be going through something, but I'm making it worse by not taking veggies.
Exactly. In a simple
way.
Exactly. So, and that's why I'm saying, eating this way, exercising, it's a form of self-love. Because you want to recover out of a funk. You don't dig yourself deeper
into it.
Exactly. You try and help yourself come out of it because you realize some of these things are probably not as bad as we imagine in our heads. But because we are not healthy all round, it's worse.
Yes.
Am I making sense?
Yes. It's like everything kind of fits in.
Exactly.
Everything has a part and then it's overall health. Yeah. Any other food?
So we've talked about probiotics, prebiotics. We've talked about the good We've talked about what else? Avocado, the good
Avocado,
fats.
the fats.
Yeah, the good fats. And we talked about the chia seeds
yes,
as well.
and the pre and the...
Exactly. And then now we're going to talk about magnesium-rich foods, because I talked about how magnesium is just great for us.
Yes.
Dark chocolate.
Yay!
At least some relief.
You know what? Someone was actually making an order for a client because it's Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And they told me to get milk chocolate.
Oh, okay.
To which I said, I understand, you know, ladies like milk chocolate, but you're saying dark.
Yeah.
No one has ever asked me to buy their beloved or their partner or their dark chocolate. It's not a common thing.
I know. Guys, don't take 70% dark chocolate because it's bitter.
Yes, it is. But then you're saying it's good.
It's good for you. And especially if you get good quality that they've not added too much additives, that if you read the ingredient list, you can recognize everything. That's like the best type. 70-80% dark chocolate.
70-80.
Yeah, let's go high, because that's the one that has more of the cacao, the real cacao in it. And cacao is a superfood. It's a real super. I don't know if you've heard the term superfood.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just a food in small quantities, big nutrition.
Big nutrition.
Yeah. So that's it. It's super high in antioxidants, super high in magnesium. It will help just relax you, calm you down. So a small piece every once in a while, not bad.
So I guess that's why you see someone who has chocolate and then they just like take 2 pieces and they're done. And
Yeah.
you're like, how?
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be like that. You should just take the bar and
you're out.
you're finished and you're
it's
done.
It's a bit bitter for you to eat an entire
Yeah, I
bar.
guess,
Yeah.
which is a good thing because
It's a
then you
good thing.
don't take in a lot and stuff.
And it's quality, you can even feel the smoothness of it. Like, it's a better experience.
Okay. I'm going to take you to the fermented, you call the fermented
Probiotic. Yeah.
probiotic. Let's talk about porridge.
Yeah.
That's very accessible.
Yeah.
You get the flour
Yeah.
and you ferment it. What would you say to people who say, because I have been told
Yeah.
that if I take, and I stopped, that if I take fermented porridge, I will have a very big pot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've had that as well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How true is that? Or are there things you can do to make sure that you don't?
I think that the problem with that, truly speaking, is the quantity. Guys would overdo the porridge. At the end of the day, it's quite starchy, right? We're talking of millet, sorghum, sometimes maize,
Yes.
ground up. So that's all starch, right? And then you take 2 or 3 mugs.
Yeah, because it's just comforting.
It's comforting. But at the end of the day, when it comes to weight loss, and this is the journey I work with most clients, it's truly energy in, energy out. If the energy in is less than the energy out, you'll be able to maintain or lose. But if the energy in is more than the energy out, you're bound to pack. And especially now with that kind of starch, you pack it nicely. Yeah. So I think it's the quantity guys will take. And I remember I was told that, and I experienced that with my first baby, because I you know how mothers bring you jars.
Yes. In fact, that's the picture that's always how about.
Exactly. And this will help you breastfeed. And you can just keep downing that uji, 3-4 cups a day.
Whoa.
It is going to pack. So I'd say a little goes a long way. Like, you don't need to take too much. And also making sure you're moving, because again, energy out, we're expending that energy. So if you're taking that, you're moving, you will still get the benefits of it, despite the fears of a pot.
Okay, so I've noticed you've mentioned most of the foods that we're used to eating.
Yeah.
And the only meat you have mentioned is salmon. What are you saying about the other meats that we're eating?
Yeah, that's why I'm called Myplantedkitchen. I love plants. Anyway, no,
Is meat good for us?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Meat has a place in our diet. That is a fact.
Okay.
We need the protein. We need the B12, vitamin B12. It's a very important vitamin for our neural health. But the thing with meat is we end up overdoing. We end up not buying the best quality because, hey, this broiler chicken is cheap and it's everywhere. But we don't question how it's being raised. You've had concerns of antibiotics to chicken, and that antibiotics coming to us, and causing us issues, including our own resistance to antibiotics, which is a big concern nowadays, right?
Exactly. I've seen a couple of articles and videos and
and especially in our kids, they are resisting antibiotics. So with all those concerns around meat, what I say is eat mostly plants most of the time. Mostly plants most of the time.
Okay.
That occasional time you have meat, then you'll have a bit more coins to spend on, to be a bit choosy. That I won't buy that cheap one where I don't know the farmer, but I will buy this one because they're telling me they don't give their chickens antibiotics. You get?
So know where your meat is coming
Knowing
from.
where your meat is coming from. And if they're able to make a claim like that, they'll probably charge slightly more. So and that's why eating mostly plants most of the time can afford us that wiggle room to buy better meat, right? Instead of saying I need to eat meat every day, then you end up buying.
It's funny you say that because I'm like, okay, fine. If the good meat you're talking about, like, the chicken that doesn't have any antibiotics, or the meat, or the beef, then do away with it to some extent. Because then I remember when we were in a meeting with other industry players, we're like, hey, things are tough. The last time I ate meat, because we were so used to eating meat on a daily. So are you saying that you've said eat plants, mostly plants? I like that. Yes. Mostly plants most of the time. So less meat.
Yeah.
Once, twice a week.
Yeah. And we've adopted that. I'm telling you, as a family, we've adopted that.
Yeah.
We've come creative, with the plants, veggie stews, the legumes, maybe 3 types of legumes in the week: a chickpea day, a bean day, a lentil day.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for coming to legumes.
Yeah.
Because this is the case. We do events, all right? And most of the time, we work weird. I mean, pre-COVID, even now when we do events, we work long hours. Thank God now we can work until 9.
Yeah.
We get home by 10.
Yeah.
Most of us don't have time to cook. Especially when you start talking about legumes.
Yeah.
Beans and it takes forever to boil them and all this preparation and then I watch some of the videos. I'm like, will I get the time? What are quick tips on, because I know you have to spend time to get good food. Are there any tips that you'd give us that would maybe speeden up the process just a little bit? I read, I don't think he'd mind me sharing. He posted, Macharia posted on, I don't know which group, he was like, thanks for sharing this health diet, because some of us don't have time to cook. So we make smoothies, and that way it's very quick. And we're done.
Oh, smoothies is one of them. You've mentioned it. It's a meal in a cup. And especially if you know what to put in it, it's absolutely fantastic for your health. Another thing would be just set aside just one day, and stand in your kitchen for 2 to 3 hours. I know, sounds like a lot, but one day in a week, you can kind of hack it and pre-cut all those things. Pre-cut your onions, pre-cut your carrots, pre-cut everything, even your salad. If you want to make a salad, pre-cut some of the salad ingredients like your red peppers and whatever, and store them in the fridge pre-cut. That will save you so much time in the week. Then soak your legumes and then do the cooking on that one day. I've also seen guys who deliver legumes parboiled, so they're ready to go.
Okay, and that's okay?
Yeah.
That's okay. They don't do any...
Yeah, all they do is just boil for you. Makes it very convenient. Like, I would go for that.
Yes.
But I find just spending the time once a week to pre-cut all those things saves me almost 8 hours in my week.
So sacrifice the one day.
Just sacrifice that one day to do some of those things, and then you'll be set for 2 to 3 days. And even just batch cooking. I know our mothers used to do batch cooking. They would cook loads of ideri and then store in little bags and then throw it in the freezer and then You know, when they need a quick meal, they just get a githeri out and the karanga and that kind of a thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're just going back to
the way things used to be.
Exactly. We're just going back to the roots. There's nothing too crazy out of the world.
Wow. Okay, so I'm preparing my food. I'm taking one day. Do they taste good? Like really?
Yeah. So it's funny, that is always everybody's concern when they start enjoying. They're like, will I like it?
You know, when you, I don't know, like I remember when I started, when I stopped taking most meats.
Yeah.
And I was very used to sitting in with my brother on Sundays, and you just take, if it's pork, and just just destroy those ribs.
Yeah.
And so when I changed my way of eating, it was like, you're so boring now. We're not
relating.
We're not relating. It's not the same. Yeah. You cannot be having a salad or fish, and I'm here having, mama rocks.
Yeah.
So, what's your take? Does it taste the same? Does it taste better? Does it?
My take is that after a while it tastes better. At the initial stage, you're still suffering from memory. You remember those tastes and you're trying to compare. But you're comparing unnatural and natural. So unnatural will take the trophy home because they've studied in a lab how to really improve the experience. There's something called a bliss point. And food companies work very hard to get to a bliss point of a product. And they just manipulate fat, sugar, and salt. That's how to get you that. I don't know if you've ever eaten like a Magnum ice cream. And it's just like
it's just, yeah. Okay, so you're saying they do what they can to make sure they get the right combination.
Exactly. So to get that bliss point, the best experience, the best taste experience, they'll get you hooked. That's what they do. Yeah. There's a whole book called Fat Sugar Salt by Michael Moss. It's a very interesting book because these food companies, the CEOs and the owners of these food companies don't eat that food. They don't eat what they produce. They don't eat that junk because they know
what is in them.
Yeah. So so you're comparing an unnatural to a natural. You get, it will take the day. But after a while, after you wind off those tastes, your body, your tongue really starts to appreciate a natural apple.
Okay.
And it's really amazing, And your tongue recalibrates because when you go off sugar for a while, even just taking a mango, you're like, whoa, it's sweet. That's what happens. So after a while, you really start to enjoy the natural taste. Then when you're given this other unnatural, you can't, it's just too much. You just realize all of a sudden, it's too much. I don't like it.
So you're saying it takes time.
It takes time.
So someone is not going to listen to this today or whenever they decide to listen to it and then clean cut.
Yeah.
It's going to take time to... So could you give... Maybe what would you suggest? Like if I was eating all these things you're talking, I probably am.
No judgment.
I'm taking refined sugars, refined flour. What else? I'm taking the alcohol. I'm taking all those things. And I'm listening to you today, and I'm realizing that I'm actually making myself mentally ill. I'm actually contributing to my own sadness. It's not even the pandemic, for crying out loud. It is my own food that is affecting me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do I start the journey of making a change, towards becoming more of a whole foods person.
Yeah.
Consuming the superfoods and all that.
Yeah. It starts with the awareness. Start being aware what you're putting on your plate. Some of these cues, you'll be surprised, is not hunger, physical hunger, that makes you go and grab that. It's something else. It's either boredom. You were bored and you decided to go buy a burger. Or you were bored and you decided to just grab a packet of crisps and sit and eat. It could be stress. So you're stress eating, right? Or it could be you have no time to prep.
Correct.
So that awareness is very important for you to start now narrowing down which areas you're going to improve, because it's not like you're doing bad all around. There are things you're doing well. Maybe you're taking in your water. Keep on. That's amazing. Maybe you're eating on time. You're eating your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner on time. That's fantastic. Start just getting awareness of what's impeding you, right? What's making me not be able to buy the fresh food? What are my preconceived notions about healthy food? Because if you don't have a strong why, I will tell you,
you'll fail.
You will fail. It has to be very strong. You have to be very clear. Because if you do it because Shiru said, you may get to size 10 and then you're like, you know what? Let's go back to our thing. But you have to ask yourself, why? So start at that point, introspect. Look at the cues. Am I emotionally eating? What is going on? And then make the choice to shop smart. Go with a shopping list. Don't wing it.
Don't just go and say, I'm going on every aisle.
Go with a specific shopping list. Buy just those items. Don't throw in a packet of biscuits just for good old sake.
Yes.
Buy those specific items and then purpose to prep. And start to see how eating that way makes you feel. And you'll start to love it more and more and more and more and more. Yeah.
You mentioned snacks. Are you saying we should avoid snacks?
No.
Okay. Okay.
It's the type.
It's the type.
It's just smarter choices of snacks.
And understanding, why am I doing what I'm doing?
Yeah, why am I snacking?
You know what? Mucha Mlingo, when she was talking about emotional intelligence, she said one of the practices that we need to cultivate is, she called it reflection. It could be at the end of the day. It could be at the beginning of the day. Like, take 15 minutes. And she actually challenged me. She said, and anyone else who was listening, she said, reflect every day for 15 minutes for 14 days and tell me if you'll not be a changed person.
Wow.
Now, I am beginning to see that there's a connection, everything fitting in, because the only time I would probably reflect and ask myself, when was I at my best self today? When was I at my worst self today? I'll be able to see, maybe when I was at my best self, I didn't eat something, or I didn't say something, or whatever. Or when I was at my worst place, my worst self, I did this and the other.
Yeah.
So I'm beginning to see the relationship between mental health and food, because then now I'll be able to say, plan for my food. Because you're reflecting and say, did I eat right? Okay, today I didn't eat right.
Yeah.
What did I do? What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it interconnects. Because we do something called unconscious eating. And we also make unconscious decisions. We do unconscious bad behavior. Because at that moment, you weren't really... it's like when you're driving, and then
you're like, where am I?
I'm here, I'm on earth.
Yeah.
It's like that. Sometimes you're just eating and you're not even here. You're not even on earth. Like, you are in your thoughts, you're on your phone, you are doing an email, you're just there. Yeah. So it's coming down to awareness and self-awareness and realizing that we are creatures of habit and we need to start correcting these habits. And that's where real transformation happens. Like she said, real transformation happens when you start to cultivate good habits. And it applies in food as well. You have to plan your food. Don't just eat anything, anywhere, anytime. I think that's one of the parts that people like. Yeah. You have to
eat at certain times.
Yeah.
I've heard people say don't eat after a certain hour.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, you can adjust it to how it suits you, because we all have our own circadian rhythm. Some people are better at eating in the evening, but are not really hungry in the morning, and that's okay. Like, listen to your body. I always say, your body will tell you. Your body will tell you the story. So you can plan your meals. Take time to actually prep something wholesome for yourself, and sit down and enjoy that meal outside email, laptop, phone, TV. Like, just be present so that you are able to hear the fullness cue. Because the fullness cue is very, like, you have to listen. But if you're here, you just keep on.
Until you're watching TV.
Until you're stuffed, you're overeating. And that's how you end up just, going down that rabbit hole of eating too much every single time.
Awesome. Shiru, you are a health and nutrition coach. If someone wanted, you've talked about clients. What kind of clients? Can someone reach out to you? Do you have sessions? How long are the sessions? I know it can be different for different people, but could you give us a range?
Yeah.
So
most of the time I do group coaching.
I find that fun.
I find it awesome when we do things as a community, because we can hold each other accountable. We can walk together. So usually I run challenges. Like, currently we're running Kick the Sugar Challenge. So we're kicking the sugar.
Esther, are you up for that? The sugar challenge.
And it's 21 days. We have a couple women working with me. I'll have another one. We did clean keto last month, and so on and so forth. So that's how I work. And they range anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000 per challenge.
So for the 21 days, that's actually quite affordable.
It is. And that's, you see, again, pandemic made us clever to realize that you can charge this way and impact more people. Previously, I would do more one-to-ones, but I'm phasing them out and doing more of the group ones coaching. And if they go on my website, myplantedkitchen.com, they can get my cookbook. It's a clean eating cookbook with over 70 recipes. They can also get guides to help them. So if you want to start, say, something like intermittent fasting, which is a fantastic lifestyle habit, but you just don't know how to do it, you can go on my website, myplantedkitchen.com, and buy a guide with the meal plan and start on your journey. You
just got yourself a client. You just got yourself a client. So tell me, what would your parting shot be for today?
Okay.
Like, what would you like to tell us as we end and wind up? The hour has gone so fast.
Wow, I know.
I don't know if there are any questions. Esther, if there are any, let me know. And then post them to me. Maybe we can answer one or two. For sure. But we've just discussed. So what's your parting shot today?
I'd say the number one thing we can really do for our body is just to nourish it. We can do so many things. We can dress it well. We can, adorn ourselves. We can do all kinds of things. But nourishing, nothing will ever compare to eating the kind of real food that will nourish your body and nourish your brain. So again, your brain is on all the time. What kind of fuel are you giving it? Are you giving it cheap fuel? Are you giving it quality fuel for it to do what you need it to do? So just start now. Don't overthink. Just start slowly.
Yeah, I think some of us are planners. We are used to overthinking. You're like, I want to plan this. I want to,
Choose a habit. It could just be the sugar habit and say, this month, I'm going to work on my sugar habit.
So you can do it progressively.
Yeah. Do it progressively. Work on sugar. Another month, work on your workouts. That's why I'm doing challenges month on month, so that we can walk this the journey together and tackle habit by habit by habit, so that in 1 year you look like a very different person, and in 1 year you can achieve a lot.
So are you saying that when you, like, for example, you kick off the sugar challenge for 21 days, do you find that when you do it as a group, after the 21 days, do people ever go back to the sugar, or you realize that you can do without and you continue without it? Or is it just for the 21 days?
That is the thing. I was talking to somebody who did the Kick the Sugar Challenge in 2018. And she told me, Shiru, I want to thank you so much because of that challenge, COVID time, I did not overdo sugary foods. And I was in 2018, 2 years later. She was like, that one habit we worked on really helped me over COVID. Yes, maybe I overdid a couple of other things, but at least sugar,
You sorted it out.
I stayed on. I ate the right thing when it came to that. So you find that because it's a learning experience, we're not just kicking off sugar for kicking off sugar's sake. We're learning. We're learning what, why, when, where. Even when you're eating out, what does a good drink when you're eating out look like? Because a lot of us will ask for soda, we'll ask for whatever.
Yeah, as I was saying, I was drinking soda when you came. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm eating a nutritionist. Get rid of the soda.
Exactly. So we learn, and we encourage each other, and guys just get better. Yeah.
All right. We have 3 minutes out. There's one question that I'll ask before we wind down. What is a healthy weight range?
A healthy weight range. That's a very interesting question. Because it's very dependent on an individual. It's so because it depends on your genetics, first of all. Yeah, genetics play a role on how heavy you can be. Depends on your hormonal health. How healthy are your hormones? And then it depends on your lifestyle and obviously nutrition. So there's a BMI, body mass index calculator, that it's very general and for general population, and maybe we over rely on it too much because it's super general, right?
Yes.
And it will tell you for this height you need to be this weight to this weight.
Yes.
But I say this, the best weight is the weight you're at and you're not worried about your weight.
I'm loving that answer.
Yeah.
The best weight
is the
weight that you're at when you're not worried about the weight that you have.
Exactly.
In other words, you're comfortable with the weight that you're at.
Exactly. You feel great. You're performing awesome in your workouts. If you're working out, you're performing awesome mentally. You're sleeping great. You're looking good. You like what you see in the mirror. That's your weight.
Wow. Shiru of Myplantedkitchen, thank you so much for taking your time. I would love to practice some of these cooking methods and see what a quick meal would be like to make, to be on the go, and how to prepare these prep so that in the morning when you wake up, you're up and you're gone. So it would be lovely to have you back here again, and probably even do it practically and show guys, this is how it's supposed to be done. I've really enjoyed this session. Thank you so much for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end, and before we say goodbye, allow me to thank of course, Shiru, for taking her time to come. And secondly, I'd love to thank Sanjeev of Aquatronics Studios for allowing us to be here, for taking care of all the video production, all the live streaming. And I would also love to thank Lillian of Floral Arts. Today we got big flowers. And so we just want to thank you, Lillian, for everything that you've done. And as we wind up, and as Shiru said, let's nourish our bodies. See you next week, and God bless.